Hello, my name is Emma and I'm the owner and writer of The Hidden North, which is an online travel guide for Northern Europe. Welcome to day one of my drive around the Oslofjord. In today's drive, I drive from Oslo to Halden, following the E6, the European Highway 6, which basically goes from Oslo to the Swedish border. We finish at Halden at Fredrikstad Fortress because I really wanted to see this historic fortress. So the drive today is not the most beautiful drive, but you may be doing this exact drive yourself. I do recommend watching, and in the next video I actually do the same drive but following off the beaten path roads, so it's a good way to see the contrast. Anyway, here is day one of the Oslofjord, going from Oslo to Halden following the E6 highway. we are now making our way into the Opera Tunnel, which is 4.5 kilometers long. The tunnel opened in 2010 and goes beneath the city centre of Oslo. They show this through the design that you'll see on the walls. If you look to the left, you can see these red circles sort of pointing down. That means that we're going deeper below the city. And then we'll see graphics showing City Hall and the fortress, just to give you an idea of where we are, what we're driving underneath. And then the circles become blue and start going in the opposite direction when we're driving up back to the land. We have now entered the county of Akershus and the municipality of Nordre Follo. Nordre Follo municipality is within the Oslo region. It's a relatively new municipality. It was created in 2020 when two older municipalities were merged. The municipality is largely forested, with some small hills reaching about 200 meters above sea level. The oldest traces of settlement here go back 11,000 years and were people from the old Fosna culture. There are stone churches from the 12th century in Skei and Krokstad with burial mounds from the Iron Age as well. In the next video, when I drive back to Oslo from Halden, we actually stop at a lot of these old sites. We have now crossed over into Ås municipality, which is largely an agricultural municipality with relatively little industry. A major employer here is the Norwegian University of Environmental and Biosciences, formerly called the Norwegian Agricultural College. Ås is also home to Norway's most famous amusement park called Tusenfryd, which we just passed. In Os municipality, there is a farm called Nøsfjord, which has given its name to a type of axe from the oldest Stone Age. And this finding is the basis for the coat of arms, which show 3 stylized axes on a background. I hope you're enjoying the drive so far. As you can see, it's very different than taking one of the scenic roads. We're currently driving on one of the busiest highways in Norway. Enjoy the drive. Driving on all these different highways basically means that we cross municipalities very quickly. We are now in Vestby, which is part of the traditional region called Follo. Archaeological excavations reveal that people have lived here back to what's called the Nøsfjord period, which goes back to between 6000 and 4000 BC. Farming culture began to emerge here in the Stone Age, and sometime during the Bronze Age, farmsteads began to appear. There are several farms still existing today that can be traced back to this period, and on all the farms are large burial mounds from the Iron Age. The Iron Age burial field at Nordby Farm is just east of the town hall. Today, timber is an important industry for the municipality. We are now in Østfold County and the municipality of Moss, which is a little town that we drive through in the next video when I'm driving back to Oslo, but via the off-the-beaten-path roads. So Moss was likely founded because of its good combination of communications and water power, with the Moss waterfall being an important reason for the town's establishment. Between 1670 and 1720, Moss was a shipping port under Fredrikstad, and 2 battles between the Norwegians and the Swedes were fought here. Moss is known for the Moss Convention, which is named after the agreement between Sweden and Norway. The convention was a truce between Sweden and Norway, and Karl Johan, who became the king, recognised the Norwegian governments in place in Norwegian society. So that happened right where we are, more or less. Råde municipality is a relatively small one that we drive through. It's located between much bigger ones, Moss, Sarpsborg and Fredrikstad. It is mostly a central traffic hub for the county of Østfold, with the Moss Airport, train line and E6 running through here. We are now in Sarpsborg municipality, which was founded by King Olav Haraldsson, who later became Saint Olav. It was founded in 1016 and was Norway's capital before the capital moved to Trondheim. The area is rich in history because of this, with burial mounds and other artifacts found here. It's actually possible to walk around more than 150 burial sites at Oppstad, which dates back to 150 BC. The Glomma River and Sarpefossen, which is Europe's largest waterfall, have been crucial to the city's growth, and Sarpsborg celebrated its 1000th anniversary in 2016. It is one of the places I must admit I regret not taking a detour here, but a lot of the original Sarpsborg is gone. It's a relatively modern town today. We are almost at Halden, which is the endpoint for today's drive. I hope you're enjoying seeing the E6 basically between Oslo and the Swedish border. Fredrikstad municipality is the next one on our drive, and when we're driving back to Oslo in the next video, we actually drive through Fredrikstad. So when Sarpsborg was destroyed during a major war, the Danish King Frederick II gave permission for people to move closer to the Glomma River so they could benefit from trading and shipping. Moving closer to the river also meant they could defend themselves better from foreign invasion, so Fredrikstad was established based on Dutch architectural models. It became a fortress town in 1663, and Gamlebyen was established with bastion walls. The abolition of sawmill privileges in 1860 led to Fredrikstad's most important period of growth. In a relatively short amount of time, the trading and shipping town was transformed into one of the country's most significant industrial towns. The population doubled and urban development spread to neighbouring areas. Fredrikstad was also nicknamed Plankbyen because of its importance with regards to sawmills and brickworks. Today, Fredrikstad is a historic fortified town, and it's a very popular place for Norwegians to visit. In the next video after this one, we drive from Halden to Fredrikstad, showing the historic road, and I then also do a little drive around Fredrikstad, so be sure to watch that. We have made it to Halden, which is the last municipality for today. Halden is located by the Swedish border, and the area is marked by its close connection to Sweden and the various wars that took place here. The shipping port of Halden emerged in the 16th century for timber to Holland and England. The town gained military importance after Fredrikstad Fortress was constructed. More on that once we actually get to Halden. Hydropower is an important reason behind the industrial development of Halden. Halden is also known in Norway for its production of shoes. At its peak, there were 17 shoe factories here with 800,000 shoes produced annually. Today, forestry and timber are very important for the municipality. Welcome to the town of Halden. So Halden gained military importance when the areas south of the Oslofjord were ceded to Sweden in the Peace Treaty of Roskilde in 1658. After resisting Swedish attacks, the town was granted market privileges and renamed Fredrikshald in 1665. In 1716, the citizens set fire to the town to ward off a new Swedish attack led by the Swedish King Charles XII. 2 years later, the same king fell during the siege of Fredrikstad Fortress, which helped to end the Great Northern War in Scandinavia. Fredrikstad Fortress was constructed in 1661 following the Treaty of Roskilde, and the fortress was built to defend against potential Swedish aggression after Norway ceded significant territory to Sweden. It's strategically situated on a hill overlooking the border, and it became a vital defensive structure in the region. The fortress witnessed several key moments in Scandinavian history. During the Great Northern War, it was a focal point of conflict, famously resisting multiple sieges by Swedish forces. In 1718, during one of these campaigns, the Swedish King Charles XII was fatally shot while he was inspecting the siege works. This marked a turning point in the war and ensured the fortress's legendary status. Fredrikstad remained an active military installation for many centuries. In the 19th century, its role shifted from active defense to symbolic and ceremonial purposes. Today it stands as a well-preserved historic site, serving as a museum and cultural site. We are going to finish our drive at the parking lot. We are now arriving at Fredriksten Fortress, which is also where this video ends. Be sure to watch the next video where I drive on what's called the Old Tids route, and it's basically a route between Halden and Fredrikstad that has old burial sites and stone monuments. It's a very cool road. So we'll do that in the next video. Here you can see the big parking lot. I was so early in the morning, I'm pretty much one of the only people here. I should also just quickly add, it is free to walk around the fortress. They do have a couple museums that cost money. They were not open when I was here because I came in the low season. Anyway, be sure to watch the next video, and thank you so much for joining me on this drive to Halden.